No, it's working. Wasn't working a second ago. Don't know what was going on. Can you hear me? Is this? What's the? I'm pretty sure you can hear me. Um, 2 seconds. So, hmm. Yeah, I mean, this could have been a much more dour podcast. I mean, I think it's already going to be quite a dour podcast, but it could have been more so. Had João Palhinha not saved us at the death there. A really, really weird game. A really disappointing game, I've got to say. I've been very positive, very pro Frank at the start of this season. Um, and it was such a nothingy performance, that such a nothingy, drab, incoherent sort of performance. First half, no real rhythm whatsoever. No real rhythm to anything that we were doing. It was one of those games where it felt like we weren't getting anything of a foothold in the match at all. We weren't really stringing together many decent passes. We didn't get much in the way of momentum going. And then the second half got even worse, really. I don't think that's harsh to say. I think the second half was worse than the first. And yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? It's hard to know if this is a warning sign, or if this is just simply, as I've been kind of saying the past few weeks, a team that is early on in the project of a new manager, and we're just kind of getting to grips with it. Chances are probably that, Um, Nathan Nathan A. Clark, he shared. What did he share? He shared a post from somebody called Anthony DeBundo, who said that Spurs have created basically nothing from open play in their last 5 matches, so Premier League and Champions League. So our XG by match was 0.56 today, 1.18 versus Brighton, 0.39 against Villarreal, 0.6 against West Ham, and 0.15 against Bournemouth. Now, I mean, I'll be brutally honest. I don't know what an average XG should be really for a game, for a team. But I'm assuming that isn't particularly good. That's just how easy. That's how people get led into stuff, isn't it? Right there, you know. Oh, I saw someone that I reckon is smarter than me say something, and he put some numbers down. So yeah, I'll go ahead with that. You know, I don't know why am I talking about XG. What am I doing? Do you know what I mean? That's what it's. That's what this bloody game. I'll tell you what as well. I've got to say, right, 8 o'clock kickoff. I'm not there at the game, as you can see. I feel for anyone that was there, but an 8 o'clock kickoff, and I say it's just not. It's ridiculous. Is Sean Dyche standing against a green wall? 8 o'clock kickoff. What's this? Do you know what I mean? I'm doing a podcast at 22:14 on a Saturday night. I should be out painting the town lily white, not the other colour. I should be out having a life, shouldn't I? But here I am doing a podcast. What's that about? No, I don't care. I'm not bothered about that. I'm just joking. I just can't really be bothered to be doing it at this time. It's sort of a weird time, isn't it? The evening pods, I sort of feel like that's like a weeknight thing. On my weekends, I want to be watching a game, 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and then after that, chill out and watch a film or something like that. Have some dinner, watch a film. Don't want to be eating my dinner while I'm watching the football. It's all a bit weird. It's all a bit weird. It's all discombobulating, you know. Maybe that's what the players felt. Maybe the players didn't want to be playing on a 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. They want to be out in Mayfair. I mean, they won't be out at 8 o'clock, will they? That's the thing. They won't be. They wouldn't be seen go. They wouldn't be seen dead going out before like 11 o'clock. Although London doesn't really have a like late night nightlife anymore, so maybe they are out by 8 o'clock. Out by 8 o'clock, and then tucked in bed with a cup of cocoa by midnight. Um, what's there to talk about? Like, what am I supposed to be saying? I know I'm jabbering on a load of incoherent nonsense. This is what it's done to me. That's what that game has done to me. This is what an 8 o'clock kickoff has done to me. What am I supposed to talk about? How am I supposed to reflect on that? It was awful. Didn't even feel like the game had started for most of it. Do you know, I'm just sat there watching like Tottenham sort of knock the ball about, not really doing anything. Wolves not really doing anything. All the commentary, Wolves can feel hard done by, blah, blah. Can they? They didn't really do anything, did they? We played abysmally and still got a draw out of it. Like, shows you why they've not won any games so far this season. Well, lost all their games so far this season. You know, like, it was just a sort of really nothingy, really weird game. And just from a Spurs side of things, quite disappointing. Quite disappointing. But I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not giving. Very big of me. 6 games into a season, I'm not giving up on Frank. I'm not giving up on all of this. I'm not giving up on the early season positivity. I'm merely reacting to that shower that I've just seen there for the past 90 minutes. Well, what was it in the end? It was about 95 and a bit minutes. I'll tell you what was particularly frustrating and really emblematic of the game as a whole was when we got that equalizer, right? And we were all sort of talking about Arsenal against Manchester City, how they all overly celebrated and all that sort of thing. I don't really think we did that, and I think João Palhinha can be forgiven for ripping off his shirt after he's just scored a whatever it is 92nd minute equalizer or something like that, right? But after that, the crowd were up for it. The crowd were like geeing the players on, telling them to like go for it, and they just didn't. Like they just sort of knocked the ball about. Like Odegaard, he's sort of in my crosshairs just on this point because he's the sort of I think the most notable culprit of this. Sort of got the ball and was just like no real urgency. Wasn't really doing an awful lot with it. Sort of dallied in possession, just let the sort of minutes tick away, and it's just like go for it. Just get them like if they're rattled, try and do like do a Bergvine against Leicester. Go for it, go get them. But we didn't. We just sort of sat on it, sat back, thought, well, we got our draw, and that's all right. And now we can go down Mayfair, and that's I don't know. I don't know. Just thought it wasn't much to that game today. Wasn't much to the game. We go on to the next, really, and it's just kind of one of those. I'm not going to sit and like be despondent about it all week. Quite a disappointing performance. Really, if I'm brutally honest, disappointing result. I think we should have won that one. We haven't beaten Wolves for a weird amount of time now. 2022, I think it is. Last time we beat Wolves. So, it is what it is. Weird one. Mike has said quite a few situations look rather clunky. Yeah, we weren't knocking the ball around very cleanly, were we? We're lacking a certain level of invention going forwards. He still seems to keep. If you can hear my neighbour's dog, by the way, it's really irritating. It's really distracting me, and I don't know if you can hear it constantly barking outside. But it's one of these things. I'm sorry, dog owners, right? I'm sorry if this rattles you, right? But if your dog is annoying you, don't just lock it out in your garden to annoy everybody else, right? You made that decision. Have it in your house barking and chasing after its own knob or whatever it's doing. Like, but they just lock them outside and they just bark all night. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm shouting at my neighbour now. So if you can hear that incessant, but it's doing my nutting. I'm telling you now, it really irritates me. That's a clunky situation, Mike. I'll tell you what now, my neighbour leaving his dog outside, that's a clunky situation for you, fella. But yeah, Spurs, not a lot of invention. Why is Xavi out on the left still? You know, come on. You're giving that a go and then you put him in the middle and he looked way better, didn't he? Stop tinkering. Stop tinkering. Stop Ranieriing it, Frank. Stop Ranieriing it. Come on, lad. Just settle it down a bit. Settle it down a bit. Adam McFarlane says we got no strikes. Wonder if he means strikers. Brian Park says Kudus was our main threat, and once he ran out of gas, we had nothing. Really need a quality left winger. Yeah, I would have loved that goal. That the link up between him and Bergvall was lovely. His finish was lovely, but that was really like. I mean, that was a thick offside. I've got to say, right, and I'll be honest about it. I was a bit annoyed with Kudus. I was a bit annoyed. I thought it was a bit of a divvy offside. I did. Come on, lads. You're supposed to be you're supposed to be quality. Just time it a bit better. Benedict Fox says Frank is really testing me with this Xavi out left. Turning me against Xavi when I pledged I wouldn't disaster class from Xavi today, I've got to say. Deuce is wild. So what did Frank learn from Bournemouth? Robert Glentworth says, how has the commentator not mentioned the clear Vicario howler for the goal? 2 league games in a row. My Vicario agenda grows. I'm not going to go on about it today. You can listen to some of the old pods if you want to hear my Vicario agenda. I'm not doing it today. Brian Park says, does Odegaard give Brian Hill vibes to anyone else? Not quite for me, but I know already he is quite a Marmite figure. I'm still sort of pretty positive on Odegaard, I've got to say. But he did, like I say, he was sort of dilly-dallying towards the end. But overall, I do quite like him. Ando says, absolute horror show. Woeful individually and collectively. Poor decisions from Frank too. Kudus was our only attacking threat on the right, but was shifted around to accommodate a quite atrocious Xavi. What says, don't feel like we have enough players that scare the opposition. Take someone on and scare them. Miss Madison and Coolidge. You said Miss Madison, and I was thinking, is this some weird term of affection you've got for him there? Oh, Miss Madison, we need you. We need you out there, Miss Madison. And Kulusevski, I sort of even forgotten he's existed to a degree, which is bad. But he's such a good player, and I am intrigued. I'll tell you what, I am particularly intrigued to see how Thomas Frank is going to play Dejan Kulusevski within this system. Deuces Wild has also said can't be benching Sarr. Would have him over either of the double pivot today. As Phil said to me on WhatsApp, no Sarr, no party. Just Gems, can Kudus play on the left? Alan Claudius Fitzpatrick Gerald Martin V says Odegaard and Tell are infuriating and both should be loaned out if we are being serious. We haven't got any players, mate. That's the problem. Tequila Shark New Jersey says Polinia Bentancur at home to teams we should be beating. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one, that, wasn't it? It was a bit of a funny one. I don't know. And Soul Sniper Gaming has also said Polinia and Bentancur, again, they cannot play together. Robert Glentworth has said, we also have to remember we aren't going to be playing push and run under Frank, especially without Madders, Decky and Dom. Soul Sniper Gaming also says, Vicario, you belong on the bench. What were you doing? Catch the ball. Jask says, Frank has to see 4-3-3 just doesn't work. We try attacking from the sides and failing. Three Wolves players standing off Kudus who struggled to make too much of an impact, and Xavi is useless on the left. I think useless is probably a bit harsh, Jask, mate. I think it's a bit harsh, but I would definitely rather see him play through the middle. That's for sure. That is for sure. People aren't very happy after this game. Can't lie. I Love Lily White says, whilst the second half in particular was bad, and I absolutely think Vicario should be rotated in air quotes, it's worth remembering that we still got a draw and we will end the weekend in the top four at the worst. There we go. Alan Leslie says, evening, still at the stadium for my birthday treat with my daughter and her boyfriend. We were beyond terrible, and Wolves were so blunt. Hopefully, just a one-off. Polinia is ripped. Coys, wait, yeah, your birthday. Happy birthday, Alan. I'm sorry they couldn't have given you more of a treat, but Polinia did with his 12 pack. What a monster! What a unit! What a finish as well. I was actually quite surprised by him. I thought he sort of flunked a few interceptions. Sort of wasn't really doing the stuff that he does usually really well, very well at all. But I do think he tried a couple of probing passes, especially in that first half, and that finish was lovely. So on balance, a good performance. Oliver Lily White also says, "Up the Spurs." Good on you, mate. Liam Hennessy says, it's disappointing. I thought we might have seen the back of Dr. Tottenham. Yeah. Yeah. Ben Mathias, hello, lad. Frank should be rightly under pressure. This is a big club. Villarreal, Bournemouth, and Wolves. Barely any shots on target and one goal. I'm not convinced yet, but we move. Coys. One goal that's not an own goal. He's gone on to correct his initial point there. Yeah, it's probably a fair point. I think it's a bit early for pressure per se, but maybe I attest. Maybe I am part of the problem. Maybe it's my low standards, directly me, center of the universe, main character. My low standards that mean that Tottenham Hotspur don't win all the football games, like every single one of them. If I settle for it's all right. Let's win. It'd be lovely to win 25 games, draw 5. Actually, I don't want to lose 8 games. Let's win 30 games. Yeah, let's win 30 games and draw 4. Decent. I think that probably win us the league. I don't know. Just, I can't make my point clearly. I was trying to be funny. You know what I mean? It's not worked out. Pretty much the ongoing kind of cycle of this podcast, isn't it? Really, but you know, you can't get enough of it, can you? Though, can you? I can hear you being like, you are funny, Jack. You are. We don't just listen out some sort of sympathy, or we don't just wait until we've done fighting cock, extra inch, view from the lane, and then I'm like, if I've got a bit more space left, I'll get another one in. Yeah, go on, do rule the roost. Might as well. All right, it's not that, is it? It's like, Jack, we think you're really funny and insightful, and that's why we keep listening. And that's the energy I get through the microphone, or I don't know, something like that. No, or Tottenham, aren't we? Adesh Singh says we lacked urgency, but we also didn't give the guy in possession any viable options. No bad dogs, just bad owners. Quite like that. Also said he thought that Xavi was pony today. Wasn't It just wasn't a very good performance, and he was livid when he came off as well. And I don't even feel like he was like annoyed that he'd been taken off. I felt like it was more one of those. I'm annoyed. I haven't played very well. I know that feeling. Like I know that feeling very well. As a top flight professional athlete, when I know that I haven't just left it all out there on the field, right? I know in myself, and I haven't left it all out there. The man in the arena, right? I know I've gone. I know I've not gone full baller. I've been a whiffy baller, right? I'm more annoyed with myself than I am with the gaffer. You know. Sip Spurs says bringing on Johnson against a team already sitting deep was absolutely pointless. Without space to run into, what can he do? What can he do? Um, yeah, he was pretty bad, wasn't he? It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one. Zeros and ones. Ali says, our subs don't strike fear. It's a bit gammon, mate, isn't it? Why do you want people to be scared? Is that how you're a bully? You want your soul? I want my subs to come on and scare people. It's a bit toxic, that, mate. You know, in 2025, it is my duty as a liberal progressive man to call out even my good friends, call them out for their toxic masculinity. And I'm sorry there, Ali, mate, but you saying that you want our subs to to scare other professionals in their workplace, not okay, mate. I'd expect a bit better. Not okay. Right? If you'd have said to me, we need some substitutes that come on and just, really, really give us a bit of oomph, right? Take those balls up the pitch and get some more shots on those goals and be a bit tip top Tottenham Hotspur. We can all get our clackers out. That's nothing like clackers is not some sort of euphemism. It's those old spiraling clicky things that they used to wave around in like the 1930s when people used to go and watch football, right? If you wanted to be a bit like long shorts, a bit tip top Tottenham Hotspur, it's a goal with a short kind of fist pump and everyone jogs back to the centre circle. Fine, Ali, but you want your subs to come on and strike fear into the opposition, mate. I'm not, not okay. All right, not okay. It's a place of work for people. All right, we shouldn't be scaring people in it. Aaron Virek says, "Good on you for calling out dog owners. They need to be put in check every now and again." That's it, mate. I tackle only the big issues here on Roll the Roost. Only the big issues, right? Dogs being put in gardens to bark all night. People zeros and ones. My mate Ali talking to me about scaring other players. None of that. Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about question time. Don't worry about news night. Come here for real talk, big opinions. All right. That's what it'll be. Daniel Permit says, if the NASA DJ by Spurs, do you think it'll inspire the team to muster more than 2 shots on target per game? I don't know. It's all a bit weird. What's everyone feeling about that? It's a bit weird. He sort of seems to keep posting things on Instagram and on X, Twitter. And then I'm sort of thinking, is it actually him or are we all being duped? Is it somebody thinking that they're really funny just setting up these accounts and paying for a blue tick? I don't know. It would be a bit weird, wouldn't it, going from a chairman like Daniel Levy that never spoke about anything to a geezer that's posting like Instagram stories and stuff about Spurs, about the club. If he gives us loads of money, right, and it breathes a bit of life. Look, let's see what Tavistock and all that are about, right? We'll see come January, right? If January they're like 200 mil, go on, get Savino in, get Harry Kane back, Harry Kane in January, right? Do all that sort of thing, right? We'll do all that. Tavistock in, Enoch in. If not, get him out. Get him out and get this DJ geezer in. Get him in. Stick. What is it? What was the report? It said a 1.5 a 1.5 billion pound war chest. Like it's just. I'm sorry. I don't believe that for a second. A 1.5 billion pound transfer budget. I mean, great if it does happen, but you know, it's a bit silly, isn't it? It's not true. It's not real, is it? You just like you're like holding a chop above a load of rabid dogs. That's what we are, all slobbering. It's dog themed podcast today. We're all slobbering there. Give me a transfer, please. You know, drool, kind of strings of it all coming off. There they are holding up this chop, this juicy 1.5 billion pound chop. There you are. There you are, peons. Don't look into our don't look into all the shady sort of hedge funds and whatever BlackRock investors and stuff like that we've got in here. How do we make our money? Arms sale? No, 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 nothing to do with arms sales. No, 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 no. It's just yeah, we just stocks and shares, all that sort of. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. 1.5 billion pounds. 1.5 billion pounds. We can't be bad. We can't be bad. We're Westerners, you know. I'm not going too pinko about it. Don't worry. I'm just having a laugh. All right. Don't worry. I'm not going to, 1.5 billion pounds. It's like, do you know what I mean? When you do I haven't played FIFA in a long time, so I might be being your dar. And I know it's called EAFC now, right? I get it, right? I'm not that. Hey, how do you do, fellow kids? But there used to be those like the sort of cards and things you can apply, and it would always be like takeover, meaning that when you play a career mode, you just start with basically an unlimited budget. And the thing about doing that is it's just boring, isn't it? Because you buy all the good players and you win every single game. The joy in those sort of career modes is slowly, gradually, slowly but surely building your team up and seeing it flourish. And maybe that's what Tottenham are doing in real life. Maybe that's what we're doing in real life. Maybe it would be boring if we had a 1.5 billion pound transfer war chest. War chest. What am I going on about? The NASA DJ. Do you think we could get more than 2 shots on target? Well, if we get Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe up front, then yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Will 1.5 billion pounds get us that? Let's get Lamal in. Let's get who else should we get in? Rodri? Nah, let's get Gravenberch. Actually, he's better than Rodri now. Didn't do very well today, did they? Old Liverpool. Daniel Lavagna says our record at home has been terrible for so long now. Need more quality to compete twice a week. Yep, don't disagree with that. Keyboard Warrior, so not Warrior, Warrior is in I'm scared, says we've gone all to Boris to do and it's worrying. Are we going out there waiting for the opposition to die of boredom? Something we said we weren't ever going to do, isn't it? But like the MO of the club is not to do that. Are we doing that? I don't know. Joe August says Joe August says on the Forest Reddit they're already calling for Anjou. Sip Spurs has also said about like the NASA geezer. He posted an itinerary from when he had an official visit in August. Feel like there's something, but he's a bit weird. Maybe he is. And Daniel Perma also says 1.5 billion war chest, otherwise known as an average Chelsea transfer window. It just is, isn't it? That's the truth of the matter. And what's it really done for them? Should we ask? I mean, that's a stupid thing to say, isn't it? 2 Champions Leagues, several Premier Leagues. Even when they have like so-called fallow periods, they usually end up winning something like FA Cup, don't they? Europa League. Annoying, isn't it? Um, should we do the players? Yeah, go on. Let's do the play. Let's do the players. So, Giuliano Vicario. I'm not going to go on about it. I'd like to see Kinski play. Give him a run in the team. It sort of blew my mind a bit to discover that Kinski and Xavi Simons are the same age. I thought Kinski was like way younger, but apparently not. So there you go. Destiny a doggy. I actually, do you know what? I thought Destiny a doggy was really good. I thought he is obviously lacking a bit of match fitness. He did definitely sort of start blowing shortly after the first half, but I thought he was really good at times. So it was that one lovely, lovely moment, that like really nice interception. So Wolves are breaking. I want to say around the half-hour mark. They were breaking, and a doggy just read it completely, intercepted the ball, and just bombed it up the pitch, and created an attack from that moment. And as he was doing that, as I was watching that, I was like, I've missed him. I've like, there's nobody else really in our team that is that direct, that does it in quite that way. I do really like a doggy. I'm glad he's back. It's a difficult one though, because I'll do Spence now. I thought Spence was actually really quite poor on the right hand side, and I'd seen it because I'd always obviously, I mean, he's sort of known as being a right sided player, isn't he? But the question was sort of floated when he was being played out on the left last season in a almost sort of makeshift fashion. People were tentatively saying, "Do you think he's actually better on the left? Maybe he is." And I don't know, I wasn't having it, maybe. Just arbitrarily, really, not for anything other than, no, he plays on the right. But I think there maybe is something in it. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think it was a particularly great performance from Spence tonight, really. I'm about to have a sip of some water. That's not a vape, as has been called. So if you're the person that accuses me of vaping, and you just heard that noise, it's like the water bottle that I drink from. That's what that noise is there. Mickey van der Ven, I think a pretty decent performance. Although he got mugged off hard as well when he was on one of his sort of lung busting breaks. Who is it that took him out? I can't remember, but somebody completely wiped him out, and they were celebrating it like a goal. The Wolves players, and Van der Ven was like livid. He was like, yeah, he was having one with the I think it was with the Wolves gaffer who was like mouthing off to him. But yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they good performance from Van der Ven. I thought Christian Romero decent. I want to say that he got us in trouble a couple of times. Um, he maybe wasn't as alert to certain bits of danger as I feel like he should have been. But I can't give you exact examples of that. And as I'm saying it, I'm almost like, is that true? I just sort of feel like at one point as I was watching the game, that might have been true. So take from that what you will. Rodrigo Bentancur, pretty nothing performance today, wasn't it, really? As has been remarked by many people in the comments, Bentancur and Polinia starting a game where we want to be on the front foot at home. Team like Wolves, who are pretty abysmal, I think, if I'm brutally honest. People going on about how well they played today. Did they? I don't really think so. I think Spurs were just quite poor, quite sloppy. Spurs played badly and mostly dominated the game. I think this Wolves team are really bad and there for the taking. João Palhinha, he obviously scored the equaliser, so have to give him his flowers for that, but not not particularly good performance. Like I say, I think like he flunked a couple of interceptions, but his passing was all right, and I think his range of passing. I recall a couple of decent launched through balls, so I'll say that. Xavi Simmons, a night to forget. Not going to dwell on it. Great player. Let's just move on. Lucas Bergvall. Now, Lucas Bergvall, I said that I thought he had a really good game, and somebody, who is it? I'll read it. Who is it that said to me? Somebody said to me on Twitter. Where's my thing I said about Lucas Bergvall? Um, Bear with me 2 seconds. So Mush at the Nugget 375 said, Bergvall is genuinely nowhere near this level. I have no idea what people see. I assume it's more likely I'm wrong than the masses, but I can't help but feel if he wasn't young and good looking, people would think very differently of him. I'm not really having that, if I'm brutally honest. I think he's been one of our best players this season. And I definitely felt that at times last year he would be prone to maybe switching off a bit, maybe at times showing that he was a bit young, that he wasn't quite there yet. But I think he started this season in mad good form, and I thought for large parts of the first half he was one of our only really him and Kudus was one of our only real kind of sources of impetus. I felt like he was getting stuck in the midfield. He was dropping back, he was picking the ball up, carrying it forwards, constantly looking to kind of thread balls through to Xavi and to Kudus, trying to make things happen, trying to be a bit of a kind of fulcrum of the team in the middle. But yeah, admittedly, not an awful lot came off for him, and he did have that. There was one ball that dropped him quite nicely in the box, and he kind of fluffed it a bit, didn't he? But overall, I don't look at Bergvall and think he's miles off or anything like that. You know, he's a good player. I think he's a good, young, and exciting enough player. Mohamed Kudus, great performance, really for the most part. Did tire. We play him a lot. He, is a particularly energetic player, shall we say. I think he makes a lot of runs, doesn't he? He does a lot of dribbling, a lot of carrying of the ball. So I imagine it is physically quite demanding. So he's going to get tired. But a really good player, isn't he? It's a shame he didn't get that goal, but there we go. Richarlison, I thought was appalling today. I thought he was dreadful, quite honestly. It's a shame to see him sort of revert back to being really quite terrible after a really promising start to the season. I think Richarlison. Here's my hot take for the night. I think Richarlison was so bad. I would like to, if there's nobody else, if Solanke's not fit yet, if Mane's not fit, I'd just like to see Dane Scarlett given a go. Why not? You know, why not? Let's do that. I thought Richarlison was terrible. I really did. Subs. Johnson had a fair amount of time on the pitch. Didn't really do anything, did he? As has been remarked, I think it was Harry Brooks, the coach lad on Twitter, said that Johnson's a magnificent finisher, but he can't really make any opportunities for himself or for anybody else, and that's a problem at this level. If he could incorporate that into his game, he'd be a truly brilliant player, and I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Pedro Porro, decent performance, whipped a few balls in, some of them a bit rash, but at least he was trying to make things happen. Always thinking forwards, and yeah, decent. Pat Matassar, don't know why he didn't start. Maybe he's not fully fit or whatever, not sure, but decent performance when he did come on, but he didn't have an awful lot of time, did he? I love him. Wilson Odobert, fine, but I think Tell was better. I was actually quite encouraged by Tell. Played a part in the goal. Looked positive. Looked to be wanting to get involved. Wasn't hiding. Um, was running into good areas, into dangerous areas, trying to get involved. Looking to be an option to receive the ball. Give Tell a break, man. Honestly, I like Tell. Let's just he's a kid, 20 years old. Let's see what he can do. Fine in it. Um, I think that's more than enough for this evening. I did put one of the previews on Patreon, patreon.com/RTR pod. If you want ad-free podcasts, you want preview pods and other random bits as and when they come to Patreon, patreon.com/RTR pods. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I see a lot more of you watching than there are likes on this video. So please, it takes a second, just drop a like on the video if you are watching it. Um, Subscribe, all that stuff. Appreciate it. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're listening on Spotify, please rate the podcast 5 stars. Again, doesn't take very long whatsoever. And leave a comment. You can leave comments on Spotify now. Brave new world, isn't it? But yeah, leave a comment and share the pod. Share the pod where you share stuff. I would appreciate that. Also on Apple Podcasts, ratings, reviews, all that type of stuff. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. At least we didn't lose. Let's put it that way. At least we didn't lose. Up the Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Much love, everybody. Have a good one. Bye bye.